outside the locker room, thank you for joining us. This is made possible with all of our great sponsors. Central Gas and Propane is a great sponsor, Wise Guys Printing. So thank you to our sponsors for helping us do this and allowing us to do this and stream with our coaches. So, hey, Coach, I'm here with Coach Lancet, the head basketball coach for our men's basketball team. And Coach, thanks for joining us. So you finished regular season, and we'll talk about some of these coming up here in just a little bit. 28-0, new record. We had talked in
26, but I hope it gets to 28.
Oh, was it 26? Oh, yeah. My eyes aren't really good. 26-0. New record, and we talked about, we're not sure. We know that it hasn't happened in Southwest Missouri, but we weren't sure that it hadn't happened in the state before 6-8. Tell me, that's got to have a feeling about it. I mean, that's an accomplishment. What does that feel like?
Well, I mean, winning feels great. So we've played 26 games and won all of them, and I think that's everyone's goal, is to look at your schedule and see what games you can play and win. And I feel like most teams probably think that you can win most games that you do play. Did I expect to be 26-0? I don't know. I knew we had a chance to win every game we'd play this year, and that's all you can really ask for. And our guys have stepped up and played well for all 26.
Next question. So you go 26-0. You're going to be number one seed in districts. And it seems like everybody strives for that, but I know that there's some solace maybe being that 2, 3, or 4 seed. Is being a number one seed, is that especially with the way our conference is now, or district is that a good thing? Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Or are you indifferent about it? Tell us what that means.
No, I mean, you definitely want to be the one seed in our district. If you look at the way it shakes out, obviously being the one seed this year and Ozark the 8 seed is it's a difficult first round game. And all the years I've been here, that's as tough of a first round matchup I can remember us ever playing as a one seed, especially playing at Ozark. So no, I think being a one seed is important. That's something that we strive to do. I think your path most years is a little bit better as the one seed, and we'll see how it shakes out this year.
I think it's definitely a positive. We got Kickapoo and Republic on the bottom side of the bracket. We're on the top side of the bracket. I mean, it's not going to be easy. We're going to face good teams all the way through. So let's talk about the Ozark team. They're 12-14, but that's a deceiving 12-14. They've won 7 of their last 10 games, so they've been playing really good late, which in high school basketball, that's what you want to do. In districts, you want them done, right? So we've played them before. We played them there. What's your conversations this week been about, hey, here's what we're going to prepare for, because they've been preparing for us. So what's that going to look like tonight?
Well, they're playing different kids. They're starting 2 different kids. They hardly even played against us the first time. That's been the biggest change in their last 10 games, is who they're playing. They're starting a George kid that's 6'9", sophomore. He's tall and athletic, and we're going to have to account for him. We didn't have to account for him last year. And we don't start a very big group. Our point guard might be our tallest kid on the team. Him and Noah are about the same height. But, they're playing well. Coach Schweitzer does a good job. I think our guys know we're in for a tough game. But our guys wanted to play Ozark first round. So that's the one thing I'm excited about. There was a chance it could have ended up being Neosho or Carthage, but our guys said when I went to see me, they're hoping to play Ozark, and we're going to get their wish. So we'll see what happens tonight. It'll be a tough game, there's no doubt. It's a tough first round matchup.
Good. So I know there's been some sickness and things. Are we healthy? Are we good?
This very second we are, unless somebody comes and tells me something otherwise. So hopefully we can get to 4 o'clock and everybody's healthy and feeling good, no sickness or anything like that.
Well, I know everybody's super excited, and folks, if you see this before the game, 4 o'clock today, early start. We've got Ozark is where districts are being held, so make sure you join us for that. If you do try to listen, you can listen in through RDO. However, if you want to watch, it is done through MSHSAA, and there's a fee for that, so you'll have to prepare for that. But so, Coach, one of the last things that I want to ask you is I know you're here a lot. You're doing stats. Trying to prepare, you enjoy a win, but you're also trying to prepare for the next game because you may have multiple games a week. So outside of basketball, being here and thinking about it, what's some of the things that this time of year, because it's crunch time now, you're one and done or you keep playing, what's something that keeps you awake at night this time of year moving into, with the past that we've got, with the year that we've had, knowing that we can win and we beat all the teams in districts, what keeps you up at night?
Well, their night was a storm. My dogs kept me up all night. About 3 times I was letting them out. Everything this time of year, your mind just races. I mean, you name it, and it pretty much keeps you up to whether who you're playing, or what we should run against this team, what defense we should do. And I try not to let it bother me too much, but I mean, I'd be lying if I said it didn't. I think every coach is in that boat. Nobody wants to lose. But there's ultimately only one team at the end of the year that's happy, and that's the team that wins the state title. So, everybody else is going to have some disappointment. But all I keep trying to tell myself, and I've talked to wife about this first round game a lot, is these guys have had a great season. And Ozark's going to be a tough game. Whatever happens, happens. I mean, we're just going to go play, give it our best shot like we've done all year. And hopefully, we have at least one more point than they do. And if not, they've still had a great season. So I've tried to just enjoy the season all year, because our district's just ridiculous. And I mean, I knew months ago, whoever wins our district, it's going to be about like winning the state title. So we've enjoyed the regular season, and now we're into district play, and it's an exciting part of the year. Feel like there's a little bit different feel in games, a little bit more electricity. Feel like sometimes kids and coaches and players and referees, there's a little bit more tightness, and I hope we don't have that. We've not done a whole lot different really in practice to prepare, but everything keeps me awake at night this time of year. My sleeping pattern's so crazy anyway. Who knows, this day to day all year round. So
No, well, I dare say it's going to be probably the biggest crowd at a 4 o'clock game that we've probably seen all year long. Just because.
Some that's because we have never played a 4 o'clock game.
Well, but I mean, some of the other games that we have worked, the 4 o'clock game, you can count, a lot of the crowds on one hand. So, but I think it's going to be packed, especially being at Ozark with Ozark. So good luck. And like you said, you've had a great season, and hats off to you and your coaching staff. I know they're excited as well, but I think you guys take it in stride, and your kids have played well, and that shows that they have a lot of respect for you and your coaching staff. So good luck tonight. I do hope we're 28-0 here in a couple of days. So
that'd be great.
So
love to be in the district championship game.
And when is district championship?
Wednesday, Friday, Monday. So
Monday night then.
Whatever that date is. Today's the 1st. So yep.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Shortened version. We wanted to get in and talk coach before they move out to Ozark tonight and have one of the bigger games all year long. And of course, every game now is big. So thank you for joining us. Make sure you go check out some of our sponsors. Great guys, Night Heating and Air, Larson Heating and Air take good care of us. Austin Orthodontics does a great job with us. So thank you for joining us, and go Eagles. We appreciate everything that they do. They make this possible for us, and I know it creates a great atmosphere for coaches and players at the games. So thank you, sponsors, for doing the things that you do. Hey, I'm here with Coach Perryman. Coach, let's talk about the season first and foremost. You guys ended up 20-6, which is a phenomenal season. Tell me, and we've talked about this before. I don't think it's something that you think about. You don't look ahead. You look game to game, right, and week to week. So I don't think it's something that you think about, but it's got to be a good feeling. How does that feel to be so successful with this group of girls?
I'm proud of our kids. Obviously, 20 is kind of the mark that you want to hit. It's kind of the goal that you're looking at as far as wins in the regular season, and we're coming on our 3rd season in a row of that. So it just shows, what a standard our kids have set for themselves. And so when you graduate a class of seniors, they're passing down that tradition. And so obviously, our schedule this year is extremely difficult. Was extremely difficult. We battled several injuries, and I feel like each night we're putting out a new lineup to see kind of who our identity is, and our kids have just answered the call, and they've just, no matter who's out there, stepped up, and our seniors have done a phenomenal job of leading us to this point.
Well, and I think some of the games you played earlier this year that you set specifically, you got to play these tough teams.
Yeah.
And you'd rather play them
We're
regular
playing all
year,
over.
regular year than
Yeah.
in districts or state, right?
Yeah.
So you want to see them early
Yeah.
and get the that negativeness or out of your system. So that was great, and I think the way you guys did that worked out nicely. So let's talk about districts. You're number 2. We know who's number 1. They're at the top of the bracket. We're on the bottom side of the bracket, and like you said, you take the numbers out of this point.
Take
It
the
doesn't
numbers
matter.
out.
But there's got to be some solace. So is that a positive to be number 2? Is that a negative to be number 2? Or really at this point doesn't matter with the district that we've got?
I don't know in our district if it matters. And same with boys, obviously. Our district is extremely competitive every year. They kind of nicknamed it the District of Death. I think you can take out those numbers. What we look at is, all right, who are we playing first round? Who are we playing in the semis? And who are we playing in the championship? So it doesn't, it does not matter at this point. If you look at our top 4 seeds, other than Kickapoo really not playing any of us, between Ozark, Republic, and Nixa, they were all single digits, some overtimes, 2-point game, 5-point game. So it's any point in time, somebody can upset somebody else if you want to call it an upset. But I think you take those numbers out. I think Glendale coming in and the year they're having, they have every chance in the world to be in that final game too. So there are several teams who could play at this point. And again, we look at who are we playing each day. It does not matter the seed. Just tell me who they are.
Well, I know it's going to be exciting, and I know there's going to be it's at home.
Yep.
It's at Nixa.
Huge
We talked
advantage for
about
us
that.
this year.
But I think there's going to be big crowds. I've already spoken to several people, have bought tickets for people,
Yep.
and try to help them out, and,
Yep.
and so they make sure they get tickets. So first game Neosho,
Yep.
and we start Thursday night. The boys
Yes.
start Wednesday night. We start Thursday night. We have the 7 o'clock game, so it'll be 4 o'clock, 5:30, and we play at 7.
Yep.
We saw Neosho, and we talked about this
Yep.
later on in the year, before that seating meeting, that we thought it was going to shake out like this, but we weren't sure. We saw Neosho last week. Did a good job playing against them, and kind of what they threw at us. They got a really big player,
Yeah.
but we did well. What have you guys talked about this week? Have you tried to keep things the same? Have you changed anything up? What conversations have you had this week preparing for the Neosho the second time in 2 weeks?
That's a huge advantage because you don't have to prepare for them as much as you would a new opponent. So we've been able to work on us. We know some changes. There's some things that if we were only playing them a one and done, the first half I would have done differently. But I wanted to wait and try the second half, and then there's some things in our back pocket that we didn't do at all that we're going to do tomorrow night. We just didn't want to give that away, seeing them a second time. So we've been able to take a couple days to work on that, but then we've been able to take all the rest of the time in this last week and just work on us. Things we want to put in for if we get past them, the semifinals, the championship game. So things that, we are adding in, that nobody's seen yet that hopefully can get us to that championship game.
So we're do or die.
Yep.
Okay, so we got Neosho, like you said, and I think that's really smart because you kind of saw the writing on the wall where you knew that we were going to face them again.
Yep.
We thought we were, right?
Yeah.
So why take all of my tricks out of my bag and
Yeah,
I got something
save
in
some
my
stuff.
pocket? Yeah, so I think that's wise. So let's talk about that. There's a lot of stress this time of season.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're 20-6 or
Yeah.
6-20. It doesn't matter, right? You win, you keep going. You lose, you go home. So what, from the beginning of the season to now, what is one of the stressors at this point in the season? What is one of the things that keeps you up at night, or what is that stressor that you feel more than anything right now at this part of the season?
It's kind of the same thing that we felt throughout the season was, let's put our kids in a situation where they can be successful. Let's try to get our kids some consistency within themselves, and that's something. So I think if we continue to do that, then we just do what we do, prepare the same way, on with the same schedule, on with the same, to keep that routine for our kids. Obviously, we know as coaches, it's do or die. But I've been trying to, we play music and practice every day, still doing the same thing. We have walkthroughs before each game, still doing the same thing. So it's my job as a coach to have the same sideline demeanor, Thursday, Saturday, Tuesday, and going forward, that I had at the first game of the year. It's so that's, you know, it's my job, I think, you know, to lead in that way where we just, you know, kind of have that relaxed, encouraging atmosphere. And then obviously in the back of your mind, you know, it's do or die. So the kids know that too. They want to win, but they've got so many other things going through their minds, you know, how they perform and what to do and what to execute, that we want to take some of that added pressure off.
So one question, when we were going to talk about this, and I know you'll answer it well. One of the things that I have noticed, especially about this team, is they're so fast, and they get up the ball, they get the ball up and down the court so fast. And I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of teams that aren't ready for that, right? They don't play that style of basketball where they're from. So when they get here, it's kind of a shock to them, and you can tell they don't get up and down the floor like we do. How has that changed? And I've seen this in let's just say the last 5 years. In girls basketball, it just seems to get faster and faster and faster. And I don't know if the kids are eating better or what they're doing. I know that the programs that we have, because I know you guys live in the off season and things like that, so kids are getting stronger. But tell me, kind of what's that progression been like the last 5 years? Because people that have notably started watching girls basketball have said they're a lot of fun to watch. I mean, they get up and down the floor. So how has that changed in the last 5 years? What have you seen as a coach? Because you've been around more than us. How has that changed in the last 5 years?
That style is more fun to play too. I mean, our kids would much rather, you know, run and gun and go play rather than just walk it up and run this. And there are times for that. You know, if we see some teams that match our athleticism or, you know, or are more athletic than us, then we might have to skew that a little bit. But it's more fun to play. It's more fun to coach. I've just kind of committed myself to that's our style, and we've had the athletes to do it. You know, I haven't had the 6'5" post players that we can pound it into, and so.
But we'll take it.
Come on in. You're welcome. So that's I've been blessed with a lot of athleticism, and so we just, you know, our kids have bought into it, and it's fun. This year we have struggled with that a little bit because we've had some of the injuries that's kept us from doing that, but it's something we're trying to work around and not just work away from. So we're trying to kind of still incorporate that and handle those kids who we need on the floor, but at times might not be able to play that style. So we've just kind of been skewing around it, but it's something that we're committed to. And I think if you look at, you know, one of my coaching mentors, one of my good friends is Molly Miller, and she started out at Drury, and I took a hold of her defense and really liked it, and it worked really well for high school. You know, and I can't recruit those specific players to play in it, but we have those players to play in it. So I think it's, you know, changed the game a little bit, and it is a lot more fun. I've had several people be like, man, you guys are fun to watch, win or lose, and I like that, and it's fun to play. And when kids are having fun out there, they're going to work harder, they're going to be more committed, more bought in.
Well, and it's great for the kids too. And at the end of the day, we sometimes forget that they are kids.
Yeah.
Right? And you know that we've got 16. You may have a 18-year-old or getting ready to turn 18, you know, a senior, but very rarely you get 16 and 17-year-olds. And we forget sometimes that, you know, it's about having fun. Of course, we want to win as bad as anybody, but I think there's a lot of undue pressure that we tend as adults to put on them. But
it's a simple game, and we, like humans, we like to complicate anything. And I'm guilty of that too, because there is some expectations. There is some, you know, too much is given, much is expected.
Sure. And
I tell our kids that with Nick said. So I've really tried, you know, this last season to just embrace it and to, you know, because last year we had such a talented team, and you want to talk about pressure, and there was a lot of it. And I feel like sometimes, you know, those kids maybe got robbed of some really joyous moments. You know, when we had a big win, it was kind of like, oh, you're expected to win. And after we beat Grand Valley in overtime at their place early in the season, our kids were really excited, and I asked Carly, I said, do you think anyone understands how big that win was? And we both kind of agreed that we're not sure they do because the expectations, which I love because that means you've earned some people's rights to expect things from you by your performance. So I like that, but at the same time, I don't want to ever take away the joy of winning, especially a big win. And so we tried to really kind of pull back on some of that and really just kind of celebrate those wins, because it is really hard to win on our schedule, in our conference, in our district. It's really hard to win, and sometimes we take that for granted because we've all been very successful.
I like the district of death. I've not heard that. So that's good. That's
Maybe that's just what I call it.
It's absolutely
it feels
accurate.
like it.
It's absolutely
It
accurate.
feels like it.
Because the end of your season could come. You could go 20-7, or you could go 21-7 even in a couple of days, and you'd still feel very successful.
Yeah.
Because of what we're doing and who we're playing, and kind of the stigma that we have built about basketball in Southeast Missouri. Well, hey, good luck, folks. We play 7 o'clock Thursday night. Make sure you're here. I promise you it's going to be crowded. There's going to be people coming from everywhere to watch. Make sure you're there. Support our girls. Like we talked about earlier, you could listen online. However, you can't watch online. It costs a fee now through MSHA if you want to watch online. But you can listen if you can't make it, but try to be here. It's going to be a lot of good basketball. Everybody's going to come ready to go. And I promise you the coaches that we beat are going to do their best to make sure that doesn't happen again, Coach. So
we may be cheering for a whole lot of upsets.
Hey, and good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck. I don't know if I told you that. Good luck. We're super excited. We'll be here for it, and we calling it. So, folks, thank you, and thank you again to our sponsors. Make sure you come out to the games. Have a good day. Go Eagles.